A few days ago, I was on Reddit and in the r/blind community and saw a post by somebody who was totally blind and an adult and looking for tips on how to tie their shoes, like learning to tie their shoes, because they were never taught as a child. And I've been thinking about that post for several days now because it is a big problem in the community where a blind child will either be born blind or lose their sight early, and the parents will, to the best intentions, like, I'm not saying the parents are bad for doing this, but they will take over every aspect of their child's life because they feel misplaced guilt that their child is blind. And I have, in my own experience going to summer camp for blind kids, I have run into kids whose parents realized that they overprotected them and we're now sending them to camp to try to give them some other experience, give them something new. And these kids were terrified. They were absolutely terrified. They had no ability to do anything for themselves, to the point of they couldn't pour cereal from a box into a bowl at breakfast time. These kids had the counselors serving them, pouring drinks for them, just everything. And this post really drove that home for me, that it's still a really big problem that the families of newly blind individuals really don't know how to help, and in their zeal to help, they end up stunting the blind person's growth and ability to learn to adapt. Because whether you are a child and going blind and have a better chance of bouncing back, or you are newly blind as an adult, you need the support, and you need, yes, some compassion, but you also need somebody to hold you to account and say, yes, you are blind, but let's find a way to adapt so that you can still do things for yourself. You cannot expect people to help you every single time. For example, I can cut meat for myself. I do know how to cut my own meat. I have a lot of trouble doing it. It takes me a lot longer than a sighted person to do it. So generally, it's done for me. But if I were alone and cutting something up for myself, I wouldn't be stymied. Do you know what I mean? I would be capable of cutting something up for myself. These people, through no fault of their own, have been stunted to the point where they can't do things like tie their shoes, pour a cup of milk for themselves, get a coffee, make a simple meal for themselves, and again, it's that their family isn't doing it for a nefarious, malicious reason. This is why I strongly advise life skills training and counseling training for everybody involved in the sight loss, because you will have the want to help, and to help means to do for in this situation, and that's not always helpful. You can't always do for somebody. This is why people think that that Driving Ape is not a bad guy, but he's not. Because he can't just do for me all the time. He always gets that. Why aren't you helping her? Why aren't you doing this? Well, because she's a grown-ass woman. and she can do it herself. He gets that all the time. My best friend from childhood would get that all the time. Why aren't you getting her her cane? Why aren't you getting her her backpack? Why aren't you doing, why are you just telling her where it is? And it's like, well, because she needs to be able to do things for herself. And the attitude of no, just do it for the poor blind person really needs to go away. And I'm not saying that anybody that does that is a bad person. It's just, you have to fight that urge, and you have to figure out a way to help a different way. You know, how can I help you achieve the task you need to do by yourself? Not, how can I do it for you? And there is a difference. And you can still be helpful and achieve that difference. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Share this video with your friends, and I will see you in the next one.